I want to turn now to CBS News' security analyst and former assistant director of the FBI, which is involved in the investigation, the FBI, of course, Ron Hosko. Ron, break down what investigators would be doing right now, several hours, about 10, 11 hours since the shooting.
Well, as we've heard from the sheriff already, the FBI, the joint law enforcement effort, has conducted search warrant executions, not only on the hotel room, but on additional locations of interest that are tied to this subject. They are looking for digital data, credit card information, transactional information that might be related to this subject's engagement with other people, leading up to the event, during the event potentially, certainly looking for any potential social media, anything he may have posted in recent days or months that give him some indication about motive, about potential co-conspirators, that may be able to give them information that eliminates the ISIS connection as a theory.
Let's talk about that for a moment.
They will also be bringing in evidence experts to help local law enforcement understand the trajectory, understand all of his activities in this hotel and around this hotel that will be exploiting all of the digital video evidence that they can collect from the scene, from the hotel, and from surrounding premises.
Everyone has been talking about the unusual profile, including the sheriff there in Las Vegas about a half hour ago when he spoke, which is unusual that the law enforcement had apparently had no contact with this shooter in the past. How unusual of that is when you look at mass shooting incidents and the precedents for this in the past, that he seemed to have no criminal record, no previous contact with law enforcement. We heard from his brother, who had said he had helped him move in to his place in Mesquite, Nevada, and that he seemed to be dumbfounded by this action.
Yeah, he sure did. I don't think it's completely extraordinary. There are, we're in a country of 335 million people, and the minority of them have a criminal record or have some prior contact with law enforcement that is notable, other than a parking ticket or a traffic ticket. So I don't think that's completely extraordinary. We have people in our world who are living discreet lives that are full of trouble, that may have mental health issues, that may have emotional issues, that may have family issues, and they don't bubble over into anything that manifests itself like this did. So I don't think that's completely extraordinary. It's certainly helpful when it's helpful to law enforcement when you have a past that you can touch somebody in a police department or in federal law enforcement that has had prior contact. There's notes of an encounter. There may be an interview of an encounter. There may be charges coming from it. That's always helpful in trying to understand what's gone on in a person's mind leading up to a tragedy or leading up to a crime. But here, I don't think it's particularly momentous. And I think that it's commonplace for law enforcement to have contact, often regular contact, with people who are mentally ill, who are in crisis. In fact, people with mental illness make up a large portion of our prison and our jail population across America. Yeah. So that does exist. There are those who are under the radar, who have an encounter with law enforcement that's not particularly momentous. And so I think it just makes this all the more challenging for law enforcement to peel back those layers and understand what the driving forces were here.
Is it out of the realm of possibility that a 64-year-old white male from Mesquite, Nevada could have been radicalized by ISIS?
Yeah, I frankly would place a large bet against that. Typically, when you reach your 60s, you've made your choices about your religion, about your political beliefs in the world, and the notion of a 64-year-old man converting to ISIS, engaging with ISIS, and in a way that's not on America's law enforcement radar, intelligence services radar, or the Europeans' radar in any way. Even though there's encryption and there is that ability to engage with ISIS representatives in a discreet, encrypted fashion, I just find that possibility to be remote. I don't think the comments from earlier today by the FBI and law enforcement have ruled that out, but they are certainly casting doubt on it, and I would doubt that as well. This person is not the typical American that you would see listening to an ISIS message and moving forward with it.
The shooter had apparently more than 10 rifles in his hotel room, Ron. Talk about the planning that would have had to go into something like this.
Yeah, I think there's evidence of substantial planning. Whether he had pre-purchased all of those weapons or purchased them recently, look, it's America, and we are a nation that believes in the Second Amendment. We are a nation of gun owners for sporting purposes, for hunting purposes. So acquiring weapons completely legally, particularly if you have no criminal record that's going to block you from an FBI instant background check, that's not momentous. How quickly he may have acquired them, how he may have acquired the ammunition to fire from those weapons. Were there any triggers in that that should have alerted law enforcement, that should have alerted a gun shop that, hey, there's something that's really questionable about this person? You know, acquiring the weapons over time is not momentous at all. There are plenty of lawful gun owners who own lots of guns in America. They keep them secured. They go shoot with them perfectly legally. They return them to a secure location. That's not momentous. That happens every day in America.
Even an automatic machine gun doesn't?
I would be interested in how quickly he acquired them.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that was contextually inappropriate about his acquiring the weapons and the ammunition, i.e., did he acquire them all, you know, within the last few days? Did he say anything to the gun sellers that may have led them to raise an alarm and didn't? And certainly to bring all of this into the 32nd floor of a big Las Vegas casino, under the eyes, the constant stare of the cameras in that casino, you know, that's all what's going to be pieced together by law enforcement. We all want to know, and certainly I'm among them.
Okay, Ron Hosko, thank you so much for bringing your insight and expertise on this. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure.